I wanted to give a short channel update as I hadn't in a while. I had a surprise for the Oldsmobile that I wanted to show everyone, and so I finally got a chance to get out here and show it, do a little work on it, but here it is. Olds 403. That's what we're going to be putting in our 87 442 as we move along. As you can see, I've already put the intake on it, roller, thermostat housing, just simple stuff like that as I've had time. Distributor. The distributor's stabbed, but it's not lined up. I just wanted to make sure that it would fit. So this is your pretty standard 403. It does have a Mellings Reproduction W30 cam in it to give it a little extra hop. But what we're going for in this car, the owner and I worked on it and talked about it. So to see what we kind of wanted to do, and we both agreed we kind of want it to stay stock looking. So, but with an added flair. So what we're kind of going for here is, what if Olds didn't start sucking in the 80s with every other manufacturer and actually built high-performance engines and put them in high-performance cars. So this is what we're doing. This is a 79 Olds 403 out of a Trans Am. I had it rebuilt by Jim's Engine and Machine in Galva, Kansas. And I'm going to leave their contact information below the video. If they are excellent engine builders, if you have any questions or looking for a motor, Bruce is a great guy to talk to. He'll work with you. He doesn't treat you like you're stupid. Great information. Was a huge help in assembling this engine and picking our grind and going with that. So shout out to Jim's Engine. Thank you for the help on the engine. Great guys. But anyways, so just to give you an update on me, the channel, the build we're working on. Here's our 403. We're going to start building that here soon. I'm waiting to set up this shop, which is probably, as you'll notice, is not an area I work in. We got to get it cleaned up and set up, and that's just taking some time. Just to give you a sneak peek, these are some of the parts for the Olds. And then walk out here, we'll give you a tour, just an update on all my projects, and maybe show you some that I haven't shown before. What's up? And that's my 76 F250. Has a 390 FE in it with a thumper cam. Pretty basic build. Done nothing to the body. All work on it has been mechanical. Makes pretty good power. Has a C6 in it with a shift kit, and then true duals out the back. Kind of a fun truck, just a nice tire burner. This is my 63, 64-ish, not certain, Jeep Wagoneer. Bought it out of a field. This is going to be a really long-term project. I'd like to make a rock crawler out of it. Probably never going to be street legal again. The body has a lot of rot, so you'll get to see me go through and creatively engineer this vehicle and get it back on the road. Our goal is to do it as cheap as possible with rebuilding used parts, and we'll go through that. I already have the engine for it. It's just a basic 305. The vehicle came already with it with an MP205 transfer case and an SM465 4-speed with granny low. So it's set up great. What it needs is axles, seats, interiors, electronics, the whole thing. So we get to really just go through it. We're going to build a basic vehicle, no AC, no cruise, good lift on it, just a good off-road rock hauler, something that we can get a trailer for and haul to Moab and stuff like that. So you'll get to watch us go through that project. Here's the Olds as it sits. We haven't gotten to do a whole lot of work with it other than what you saw we've done with its new engine. Really excited to get going on this build. It's going to be a pretty cool car when we get done with it. So that's kind of our update. As you can see, got to get this shop cleaned up. That's where we're going to be doing the engine swap for this car. There's one more surprise on it yet, but it hasn't shown up yet, so I'm going to talk about that. I think today, really, what you'll see is we are going to fiddle around with the air cleaner. We want to have it have a stock look. I have the original air cleaner. It has a lot of EGR and other stuff in it we're not going to need. So I'm going to be cleaning this up and trying to see if we can modify it to work a little better with our new setup. Okay, so we're back in the shop you're probably used to seeing. This is actually just our garage on our house. But this is where all my stuff is, so this is where we're working today. As you can see, this air cleaner is spent, so we'll be replacing that. Don't you worry. It's kind of a cool design. The 307s got chrome top, and then they actually got dual inlet, with this side being a snorkel. Then there's some kind of vacuum modulation that would control airflow. I don't know what it is. We're going to cut these off and we're going to plug these holes. This is how it's going to go. There's also a pre-filter in here, some kind of sensors that I don't think are necessary and that we definitely don't need, so they're going to be going bye-bye. So, and so will this post filter of some sort. Okay, it's not necessary. Gonna get out of there. We want to restrict the air as much as possible. We're adding a lot of cubic inches, almost 100. So we want this to be a pretty free-flowing engine. Okay, so here's all the crap we removed from the air cleaner that's not going to be necessary. We have quite a few holes. They don't matter because they're outside the air cleaner. The only two that matter are these, which will be inside the air cleaner. But I do want to do one breather, so we're going to leave this fitting here. So we can do kind of a hidden breather because this is the back side of the air cleaner. Not sure what I'm going to do about that hole yet. I think what I'm going to do is get some stuff so I can braze, which I've never done. But these convenient circles here, I think if I cut them off the mounts, I can use them to make some decent looking covers here and here, if you can kind of visualize that, and then cut some more scrap metal that I can figure out to braze a cover over that hole there. So if we can figure that out, it'll be pretty good. But for right now, we need to clean this up. And I'm going to do something you never do when your wife's home. That's right. Never wash car parts in the kitchen sink when your wife's home. Sorry, honey. This is totally safe, and I won't get in trouble because, like I said, my wife's not home. So we'll get going on this and get it cleaned up. Well, dang it. Unfortunately, if you look here, you'll see that this thing's pretty well shot. The chrome on it's no good, so I think we're going to paint it. And I got an idea for painting it that I think is going to turn out really cool. I don't know if you'll see it in this video or not. But we'll start working on that because I have nothing to braze with today. So we're kind of stuck on this one. It cleaned up okay in the sink. I think that we'll be able to use some scrap tin and we'll braze together something that'll work really well. And look clean on the car when we're done. So I'm going to start sanding this and at least getting it to primer. And we'll see how that goes. Okay, well, we got it sanded down. As you can see, it's not very sandy. It actually looks pretty good. We got rid of a lot of the rust, but we're still going to paint it because it's just going to rust right back through. See, Ford's looking at it, you go, this ain't going to work, bud. We're going to have to paint it. So I really rely heavily on Ford's opinion for my builds. Smart dog. Just really knows what he's doing. Good apprentice. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to spray this with some high build primer and then let it sit. What I do, like I said, is I hit it with 150. The spots that are really rough, I come back with 120. I bump back up to 150 over those spots just so it all kind of matches. If any of the lines show through the paint, but that's kind of where your high build is going to stop that from happening. So what we're going to do right now, oh, I'm sorry, let me slow down and explain to you. So I use Invisiglass on parts that I'm painting. It's just easy, it evaporates quickly, just effective, cheap shit. Spray it on there, wipe it off, you got yourself a good surface to start with. for paint. So we're going to go ahead and get started on that. Okay, so we got the first layer of primer on the lid, so we're just letting it dry. We are going to go ahead and sand and get these to primer too. They were the most inexpensive valve covers that were in good condition that I could find that were of good quality. I'm not a chrome guy. My customers, the owners of the vehicle, aren't really chrome people either, so I think they're going to just be color matched to the block, which is actually what we're going to do with the lid. So I was kind of thinking I'd make it a surprise, but I just spoiled it there, so who cares. So we'll go ahead and get these to primer now. Okay, so we've got a thin layer of primer on both the air cleaner lid and the valve covers. Actually, you know, I didn't mention it and I want to. Shout out to TransDapt. They sent me a valve cover kit that comes with bolts, hold downs, neck, water neck, and a couple other goodies that are escaping me right now. But basically, it's a top-end dress kit. I'm impressed with the quality for the price point. I think I paid $111, which for Oldsmobile is pretty good. They generally, if you want to mess with an Oldsmobile, it's kind of getting to be like Mopar, you're going to spend a little bit of money. So I was impressed with TransDapt's price. I'll put a link in the description. I got it from Jegs. I'm going to do a better job of when I use a part. I'm going to put a link in the description below in case anyone else wants to follow behind me and work on a build like this. So, like I said, I put a thin coat of primer on these chrome parts after sanding them just to see what it looks like once it dries. I do use high build primer, which helps if I have to go back and sand because I missed a spot of rust or something like that. That high build kind of helps me lead the way. I think that the chrome parts from TransDapt would have held up. I just don't think it was the look we were going for on this build. So thank you to TransDapt for that kit. They're not a sponsor. I have maybe 50 views of videos, so really just me giving my opinion on stuff as I see it. So you won't get a biased opinion out of me on these. Thanks. Alrighty. So we let the first coat dry, then we get in here and hit it real thick with the second coat. Everybody has their ways of doing it, and I'm sure there'll be a comment storm about how this isn't the correct way, but this is the Andrew's Garage way to try and get stuff done. This is just some shade tree advice. Mileage may vary. Okay, so we put the last coat of primer on there. We did have to do a little sanding because we did have some high spots on the rusty air cleaner cover. So now we're going to go ahead and start painting it. Using VHT has always worked real well for me in the past. High heat. Olds Gold. It's going to be the theme we're going with under the engine bay. I think that's fitting. So we'll get going on it. Alright. 2 coats of paint later. And looking pretty good. I'm guessing what will happen is what always happens is I'll notice imperfections the next day after this is dry and I can get it out in the sunlight. So we'll probably touch up again then, but for right now those are looking pretty good. So I think that's going to match with the engine really well. Probably in the next video you'll see me going through trying to figure out how we can seal up these holes, braze them shut, just get this maybe not necessarily factory fresh, but in better shape than it is. Get some of these holes brazed up and blocked because they're not going to be needed anymore. And we'll go from there. Hopefully at some point in the near future you'll be seeing a video as we move into the new shop and get it set up and get this stuff out of this shop. This was never supposed to be here to begin with. So you'll see that in a future update. And thank you if you flip this around. If you like the video, please subscribe, please hit like. I would like this channel to take off. I really enjoy doing this stuff. If it never does, I'll probably keep making videos, and that's fine too. 50, 60 people get some interesting tips out of it. That'd be great. If more, awesome. So anyway, thank you. Y'all have a good evening, and keep under the shade tree, keep wrenching.